2 years ago, I sat in a room with 5 people who I have huge respect for. And in that moment, I feared that they had zero respect for me because one of them was holding my feet to the fire in a conversation that I really needed to have, but I didn't want to have. And he was not going to stop until I acknowledged what he was saying, which was I was indeed, in that moment, fighting for my own limitations. It was honestly one of the most excruciating conversations I've ever lived through, and one of the most valuable. And even though I hated it at the time, I've continued to meet with that group once a quarter since then. In fact, we've been meeting for the last 6 years, this group that we call a mastermind. So the reason I keep coming back is because I have my dreams and my doubts, just like you do. But what I found is that those dreams are coming to life much faster, and I'm getting in my way much less because I participate in this group. In fact, this leadership library wouldn't exist were it not for my participation in that group. It's something that I've wanted to do, to share the lessons that I've been given by clients and teachers and my experiences with people like you so that you could benefit from them. I've wanted to do this for a decade, but it was finally a commitment that I made to someone in that group that I would offer up one of these once a week without stopping for at least 2 years. This is month 8, week 34, and I'm still going thanks to that commitment. So what's some big contribution that you are dreaming of making, but also doubting that you can? Perhaps some of the lessons that I'll share in this video will be valuable to you as you bring those dreams to life. Hi, it's David with another entry into the Leadership Library for you, that person who does dream bigger or faster than the people around you, but you're willing to put in the work to live through the discomfort to bring it to life. You probably have dreams of ways you want to contribute far beyond the way you are right now. And you probably have doubts that keep holding you back. You've probably read books, taken programs, studied with great teachers, maybe even gotten a degree to help you build your capabilities. But let's see today if participating in a mastermind might be a valuable addition to your learning repertoire. It seems more common that people who participate in masterminds are business owners, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people who seem to understand that building their own capability will have a direct impact on the contributions that they want to make. But that doesn't mean if you don't own your own business and you work for someone else that it wouldn't also be valuable. In fact, I would argue that it could be sort of a sneaky competitive advantage because fewer people who work for someone else actually do it, even though it's incredibly valuable. As long as you want to create transformation and contribute more, a mastermind could be a good answer for you. In this video, I'm going to share with you why a mastermind might be valuable to you, and if so, how you might think about creating one for yourself. Before we even jump into why you might want to build or participate in an existing mastermind group, let's just make sure you're being honest with yourself. Don't let this become just one more thing that you have to do, another burden or a task. It really has to be right for you. So it's very possible that now's not the right time in your career or in your life to add something like this. There are plenty of ways to continue to develop yourself without a mastermind group. Second, just because my group does it in a particular way doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. You don't have to meet in person like we do. You don't have to meet as often as we do. You don't have to have the same formats like we do. There's many different ways to have successful mastermind groups that can be really valuable, and you get to build your own. But let's just talk about why you might benefit from them. The first reason is that it's really a forcing function for you. It's a forcing function to do the thing that you know you need to do anyway, which is to look at thinking about working on the business instead of just in the business, or thinking about living your life from a broader perspective than just always living it day to day. That's a really valuable thing when you know you're going to have that thing to do, that meeting that's going to take place. Even if you aren't able to make any other time for it, it's a forcing function to do it at least the times that you do meet. That's really valuable. The second reason participating in a mastermind group might be valuable for you is because the people who are in it are not a part of your work world, but they know you well. What that means is it can be totally transparent. You don't have to, choose your words carefully or hold back the way you might if it was somebody that you worked with on a day-to-day basis. And, we'll even talk about not just our work, but our life choices and what's happening in our broader lives. And the more we're together, the more we come together, the better we get to know each other and the more valuable the other people's perspective can be. The third reason you might want to consider a mastermind in your life is because The mastermind groups focus on the best in each other. In what other contexts of life do you have no responsibility to these other people? You don't do work together. You're there to help each other out, to be completely honest, to tell the truth unvarnished, to really bring out the best in each other. I mean, there are times that you'll disagree with each other in what you're saying. I know that I've even gotten really angry at what people were telling me. And for example, that time when that guy was holding my feet to the fire. But I'm so glad that he did. Who else would have done that for me? That's such a great gift. We don't let each other play small. It's not about pushing each other. Sometimes it's just about listening so deeply because you have no other agendas with each other than to bring out the best. That they'll hear things in you or you'll hear things in them that reveal things that nobody had ever seen before. The fourth reason is we become the company that we keep. If you're with a group of people who you admire, who you aspire to be like, who you'd want to model, great, because you're going to become more like them. There's an old saying, we become the company we keep, so keep good company. So when you get together with a powerful group of people who you admire, who you aspire to be more like, guess what's going to happen? That's a really great thing. The fifth reason may be the lucky byproduct, but you're going to create friendships and feel a sense of a larger community. And you may be the lucky one who doesn't need any more of that, but I don't know many people who say, yeah, you know what, I've got enough high-quality friendships and great communities. No, I don't need any more of that. When my group gathers, we laugh. We so look forward to being together. We're working our tails off, trying to help each other out, and we're still having so much fun. We look forward to seeing each other every quarter. Think about what's possible there. Looking forward to hanging out with great people who are going to make you better. I think maybe I can illustrate what actually happens in a mastermind meeting to give you a sense of what's happening. Let's just say that it was my turn. We take turns. Each of us gets some time. We usually start with talking about what's working well, and then we ask for some help in some place that we're challenged. And so if it's my turn to be the one asking the questions, I get the attention and the ideas and the perspective of 5 other really successful, talented people who are, not completely like me, but they have enough in common with me that they have some great ideas. And as that's happening, as one person is sharing with me, they're all learning from each other, and they're actually listening to what the other person is saying and then building on it. So it gets better and better and better. And you could draw a line between every single one of the people on here because everybody's benefiting. And as they're listening to each other, it creates this momentum. Even as the meeting goes on, we all get a little bit better, regardless of who's the one in the center. And this flywheel just kind of keeps ascending and ascending to the point where even 6 years later, since the day we started, what's this, maybe meeting 23 or 24, we're still ascending. This last meeting that we had just last week was, we agreed, one of the best meetings, one of the most productive, one of the most fun, and one of the most challenging meetings that we've ever had. So as you continue to invest in the mastermind group, you continue to gain. And it seems that there's no top side. I hope the reasons why you might want to participate in a mastermind group are becoming more clear. Now let's shift to how might you put one together? What are the things to look at? First on the list is to seek out people with shared values, but diverse everything else that you can find. And the shared values are really important. If you don't share some basic values, you'll find yourself getting crossways. The group that I'm a part of, we have greatly shared values. But then look for diversity in many ways. People who think differently, act differently, who have different experiences, who come from different communities than you do. People that you wouldn't be your first move to turn to and say, hey, do you want to do something? Think about how much would be available when you bring in that diversity of thought and you get really honest with each other. I mean, you may not get to choose who you work with because somebody else made those hiring decisions. You may not get to choose who you live next door to because somebody else bought that house and that wasn't up to you. But in this mastermind group, you can really go for the diversity of many things that will benefit you and benefit them and take those conversations to a place where no other conversation you're having could go to. The second how is commit to a regular connection. It's not good enough to say, yeah, we'll get together when we have a question, we'll get together when it's convenient. It will probably become inconvenient, and that's okay when you are committed to a particular sequence or cadence that you will come together in. It doesn't have to be in person. It could be on Zoom. It could be on the phone. You don't have to do it the way my group does, but there must be a commitment to a regular cadence. Otherwise, busy people will let it fall off the list. And sometimes it's only the fact that you committed to each other to do it that way that will make it happen. And that's the only way you'll get the benefit of it. So commit to that regular connection and don't let it waver. Number 3 is focus on wins, goals, and challenges in that order. How many meetings have you been a part of where the first thing you go to is what is the problem, what's not working, what did I do wrong? Yeah, that can be valuable, but that's a habitual conversation. One lesson that we learned in the group that I work with was it's not something we did at the beginning, but now we always focus on the wins. What's gone well since the last time we've met that has us excited about our future? That's actually a Dan Sullivan question from the Strategic Coach. And we adopted it about midpoint in the 6 years. And we found immediately the entire meeting was different because we started with wins. Then you can go to goals and challenges and what's not working and ask for help there. But starting with wins and then going in that particular sequence will make your meetings just go to a different level, and you'll also just be in a better mood, in a more optimistic mood of possibilities, so you're able to solve those problems and challenges when you get to them much more easily and creatively. The number 4 how is commit to ownership, accountability, and honesty. These will be some of the most raw conversations that you will ever have, and they'll be some of the most valuable ones if you commit to ownership. Take ownership. If somebody calls you out on something, look, see if this is really true. And many times they're right, even though I or you might not want to believe that. Take accountability. If you commit to something for the group, make sure you follow through. This group will hold you accountable. Otherwise, why bother coming back together? And I'll tell you, many times the only reason I've done something is because I committed it to somebody in this group, like this leadership library, as I mentioned earlier. And we do that for each other. And then commit to honesty. There are so many places where people will mince their words, select them carefully, so to not hurt a feeling or to not make a colleague mad so that it'll come back to them. These are people that are from different parts of the world. You don't work together, and all you want is the best for each other. And so you have freedom to be honest, respectfully honest with what you're seeing, what's working well for that person, what they could do better, and be honest with yourself in front of them. It's incredibly freeing, and again, it will help the whole group and you go to a higher level or a deeper level, however you want to look at it, that you haven't been able to do in most places. The 5th how is test and learn. There's no way that you can, before you even begun meeting with your group, figure out all the different parameters and sequences and things that you want to talk about and processes that you want to incorporate now. Just get started and then test and learn. What works, keep it. What doesn't work, learn from it and make it better. The meetings, I laugh at the very first meeting that my mastermind and I had when we met 6 years ago compared to what we do today. But we just started. We learned what we did. Probably 90% of what we did the first time doesn't exist anymore. But we got started, and that was the key. So just get started, test, and learn. And by the way, when you're looking for people, the way this group that I'm a part of formed was we were all a part of the same learning community. We had noticed already that we were starting to ping ideas off of each other because there was enough difference between us that we were finding, oh, that person sees something very differently than I do. And so we ended up coming from a community. So one of the places that you might want to look when we think about shared values and diversity is there may be communities already that have people that you might want to at least in part draw from. Our group didn't come entirely from that. The first 4 did, and then we added 2 more who were not a part of that community. But that might be another thing that you want to look at. So with these 5 whys and these 5 hows, I hope you have some perspective that might help you move forward. You'll probably want to keep thinking about why you might want to participate in a mastermind group, and if so, how you might go about doing that. But also consider these questions while you're doing that. To what extent do you have the support that you need right now to bring your greatest dreams to life? And would having a forcing function of staying connected to people who are committed to the best in you be helpful right now? Could a mastermind group provide that help that you need? And could you provide that help to others? In fact, if you're considering it, you might want to forward this video to people who you'd like to participate in a mastermind group with. I'd love to hear how this lands with you, and I'll see you in the next video.